Yes, sir.
Signing people up, giving free entries to the gym.
Nice.
They were washing cars in the back for
Really?
$10.
Oh, you can't beat that. It was hot.
Yeah, man, it was really nice. DJ live.
Okay.
It was nice. So I end up being the MC. I guess they put me to work. I don't know, but that's what we do. We go to work.
Facts.
One more thing before we get a baller. I'm just gonna say one thing. I'm just gonna say one thing. Hulk.
That's it.
That's all I gotta say.
That's all you can say. Gotta check on you though. Last week you messed your back up. I gotta check on you. Do my buddy check. How's the back holding up? Did you get that what the massage they said?
It's still
the Thai
bad.
massage.
It's still bad.
Didn't work, huh?
No, I didn't do it.
Okay.
I didn't do it, but it's still bad.
Brother.
It's still bad.
You're moving a little better though.
Yeah. Well, I need you to step on it tonight after the show.
That ain't gonna help.
Oh, that's what they was gonna do.
Send you to the ER immediately. Real quick, make sure you share our live feed. We appreciate you all for supporting us. Episode 43.
Let me tell you this.
I tried to help you.
No. Let me. Why you looking awfully good? Why you bucking and shining today? What's going on?
No, am I? I'm glowing.
You're glowing.
Just let your soul.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Make
tell
sure
everybody
you
where they can
support us
find
and follow us on all social media platforms at No Plays All Sports Talk. Of course, everything going down in the world of sports. We don't have the time to talk about it here in the hour that we have on the show, but make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at No Plays All Sports Talk, and you can stay up to date to everything going down in the world of sports. Got to send some happy birthdays going out. Happy birthday goes out to WNBA legend Lisa Leslie, 49 years young today. Happy birthday to her. Also got to send a huge happy birthday going out to my cousin, Deshaun Allen. He's celebrating his birthday. So gotta get some housekeeping rules done out of the way.
Well, yesterday was my mother's 82nd birthday.
Man, wow, nice.
Yeah, so I had to call her, send her some flowers. But I called in and sung happy birthday to her.
You do this happy birthday song thing pretty well.
Well, we got to.
Yeah. I got to give you your flowers with that. You do a good job, brother.
Yeah, so happy birthday, Ma.
All right. Well, a lot to talk about in the world of sports, man. The drama going down between ESPN and their female broadcast host, and they're doing some shifting and changing. Our Las Vegas Aces, they are in action tonight, taking on the Phoenix Mercury, 7 p.m. over at Michelob Arena. A lot of stuff happening in the world of sports, but this guest we have on right now, man, listen.
I don't even think I'm ready for it. You think No Plays All Sports Talk is ready for?
Listen, we gotta get ready. Whether we are or not, we stay ready. We're gonna welcome to No Plays All Sports Talk episode number 43. Olympic champion, man. I'm gonna call it for her. I'm putting it in the universe right now for her.
So speaking it to
yes, she is a thrower for Team USA track and field. She's a shot put thrower as well as a discus thrower. Gonna welcome Raven the Hawk Saunders
to
No Plays All Sports Talk. What's up to you, Hawk?
Hey, how's everybody going?
We are fantastic. How you doing, sugar?
I'm doing good. Just left the gym on my way back to the hotel now.
Okay, you getting it in live on location with the interview. I like that. That's dedication.
What, you in the limo?
What'd you say?
What, you in the limo?
Nah, I
wish. So we appreciate you for joining us on the show. I know your schedule is hectic right now. You're preparing for the Tokyo Olympic Games, and I know your schedule is jam packed. But you take the time to join us, little people here in Las Vegas. So we appreciate your time.
We thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
So let's just get right into it. Of course, for the people who don't know who Raven Saunders is, of course, you hail from, is it Charleston, South Carolina? What is that about? All the way now, I believe you rocking on the West Coast in San Diego, right?
Yeah, I was. Now I'm down in Birmingham. Well, Birmingham area. I'm down in Tuscaloosa training. But yeah, I've been all over.
Nice. So your track record, or shall I say your resume for Team USA, of course, you are a shot putter. When I seen your throw about 2 weeks ago, I immediately was like, I have to make contact because I am a shot put thrower as well. And
you know a little bit about it, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I won the state championship in high school my senior year as well in the shot put. So we got a little connection already.
Gang. Okay.
Yeah.
But Ms. Raven, I seen that one you threw. I'm like, I don't think nobody gonna ever catch that. That's a record in atmosphere.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about it. Of course, South Carolina. You grew up. You have a sister as well, and grew up in South Carolina. Not the best of circumstances. I saw your new documentary that you have on PBS. That is phenomenal. We'll talk about that later as well. Just give us some background into your personal life outside of athletics, just a little bit, without going too deep.
For me, I'm really just chill. All I do, pretty much everything's surrounded around training. Everything I do is about working out. My family is very big and very important to me. Because, when I have the time, I try to go and see everybody that I can. But outside of that, I'm probably just playing the Xbox.
Okay, Xbox. All right, that's cool. That's your mental breakdown time, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that's my peace, my happiness. Well, unless I lose, then the whole gotta come.
So let's talk about the Hulk. Of course, you were given that nickname back in, I believe it was college. They gave you the nickname the Hulk back in your Mississippi State days. Describe to us what that feeling is. Ole Miss. Okay, Ole Miss. Correct me. Let me get it right. Ole Miss. Let's talk about that nickname of the Hulk and how did it all develop and come together for you?
It was one of those things. I was in like a group chat with a bunch of freshmen. We were all like sending in pictures and stuff like that, and it was my senior year, so I was kind of swole, so I thought. So I sent the picture, and they was like, "Man, you look like Hulk, like you the Hulk." So really, after that, it pretty much just stuck. That was me.
Yeah, I was telling you off air. I was like, "Where's the whole? You got the Hulk mask that you throw and compete in." I'm like, we need the whole costume to feel the whole Hulk in the building.
Yeah, it's in the trunk. I got it. I was wearing it when I was working out at the gym. So
is the Hulk? Do you feel an alter ego when you're performing and people address you as the Hulk? Do you feel an alter ego in that moment?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, anybody that knows me personally knows that I'm a completely different person when I'm not. A lot of my friends over time, they learn that even, before track meets, you gotta say hey to her and keep pushing, or you nod to me and you keep pushing, because I don't like to talk. For me, it's strictly business. I'm focused. If you're in my way, you gotta move. The Hulk is there for one thing and one thing only, and that's to smash the throws.
That's right.
Smash.
That's right.
Okay, Ms. Raven, I got a question because I kind of did a little. Once I found out you were coming on, I had to, look you up a little bit. And one of your tweets, I hope you remember this, and we're going to go right back to what you said, family. You said, don't mess with my family, don't mess with me, and don't even mess with my opponents. And that was a tweet. You remember that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I thought that was like, catchy. Don't even mess with my opponents, because I'm going to mess with them.
Yeah.
That you don't often find people taking up for their opponents.
Exactly.
So that's
exactly.
But if someone's going to protect me and take up for me, the Hulk, I would want that protection for sure. So let's talk about your competition. Of course, this is your second go around with the Olympics. Of course, I believe you were there in 2015. Is that correct?
16.
16. Okay. So what's different between your journey in 2016 and the journey now that you're on competing at the Olympics?
It's very different. 2016, I was a sophomore in college. Very, not in a negative sense, but I was ignorant to a lot. I knew a bit, so I thought, but there was a lot that I still had to know and learn, and in order for me to grow, I had nothing to lose. I was in college, so I mean, I was just having fun. Now it's more of, it's a business. This is what I do for a living. This is how I eat. This is how I feed my family. This is part of how I'm going to, grow generational wealth. So it's a lot more at stake. My mental has grown substantially, dealing with depression, anxiety, and all those things. And it was a lot that I had to learn how to be able to cope with all of that stuff and be able to still compete and train and try at an elite level.
You talk about the depression. Of course, I hope it doesn't bring back any trauma or any memories of a moment that you don't want to take back. But you talk about depression and athletes who actually struggle from it and struggle from it in silence. You yourself, back in 2018, you had a moment where the words you say is you felt like the weight of the world was on your chest. Take us back to that moment where you felt like it was a wrap. You had no one to help you, no one to call on, and you at a moment you tried to take your life.
Yeah, I was very down bad actually. It was one of those moments where it was like pretty much everything. People always think about the life of college athletes being, this great, fantastic thing, especially if you're doing well athletically, but a lot of the times that's not the case. Many of us struggle so much behind the scenes that, people fail to realize, even the people that may be in our, close spaces or in our support groups. And it's like sometimes we say certain things to try and, allude to like, hey, I don't know what it is, but I may need help. Sometimes people may kind of like brush it off or brush certain things that you may say or complain about or, have a certain feeling towards as like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, you're good. Like, you have everything that you need. You don't have nothing to worry about when, in all actuality, we struggle just like everybody else. And that was like the biggest thing for me when I really felt kind of like alone. Like nobody understood me. Nobody really cared if it wasn't for, my athletic ability. So me personally, it was just something that was very hard to deal with kind of by myself.
Mm-hmm.
One of the interesting things sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, or so I felt.
One of the interesting things that I found interesting that you said is you didn't really want to burden yourself on everybody else. And I'm sure that a lot of people that suffer in silence with mental illness and depression and things of that nature, they kind of feel the same way.
Yes. Because it's like, when you're in an environment and everyone, you're looking around, everybody has their own problems or issues. Or when you're dealing with depression, it just seems like everybody else has so much going on that you don't even want to reach out to some of the people you may feel the closest to. Or if they're like, hey, well, I have this to do, you're like, well, I'm not even going to press the issue, even though I really need to talk right now. Or, I really may need to be around somebody or be around some people that I care about. And it's like you kind of just internalize it instead of, speaking up. Or if it continuously happens where you can't get access to or get in contact with certain people that you would like to, you just kind of feel like you're burdening them or you keep hitting them up like, hey. It becomes like one of those things. And yeah, it was crazy.
I'm sure it was. And one of the moments that we're going to say kind of save your life was you reached out for help, something that a lot of people take pride in not doing at that moment where you felt like you wanted to go off that cliff and you just felt like the world was coming to an end for you. You reached out to your therapist and, and thank God that she took the time to immediately respond because everybody doesn't get that response. But what did that response in that moment mean to you? And do you think that was a life-saving measure that you actually got a response? Because it could have been something different.
In all honesty, it really was because I remember like I talk about like it was a certain road that I take. And when I was driving and I sent her the message, I was getting towards like this intersection where it was like left and right. You go left, you go into the cliff. You go right, you go home. And, I hadn't talked to her in about 8 months to a year at that point because I actually had a new therapist who I don't believe I was even seeing at that time. But I had another therapist in between her, and it was just one of those, I'm going to send it, if this happens to number, if she doesn't answer or whatever the case may be, then hey, it's whatever. But being so long and she messaged back so quick, it was crazy to me because I knew, like I said, when you talk about burdens, me and my therapist, we had a lot of conversations, and I knew that, for her, she had a lot going on, but I knew that she would be the one person that knew me, knew my whole backstory, knew my whole story. And in the case of reaching out, on the right. She understood that, I'm not very comfortable opening up to so many people. So it was nice that she was able to be there for me because, I text her to this day every once in a while, just thanking her pretty much for that and how appreciative I am and just pretty much checking in on her also, just how well she's doing.
Yeah. It's interesting. You talk about, you said, she wasn't your current therapist at the time. How important is it to select a therapist that you're comfortable enough that you can trust that at the very instance of that moment of a life-changing event, that person, can be that 911 saver, kind of like you're calm within your storm.
Did we lose her?
Did we lose her? She's probably getting out the car.
Yeah, but I was going to ask it, because it seemed like she's in the same. You remember Naomi Osaka?
Yes.
She pulled out.
Absolutely.
And it seemed like they don't have nobody to go to when they need somebody.
Yeah.
And so I was going to kind of like compare it to that, see if she thought that she had that same feeling that Naomi Osaka had when she had to pull out. That was a big deal pulling out of
for sure.
tournament. So
and it's crazy. I had an incident at work today, and it was a very traumatic incident. And one of my supervisors came in, and someone was trying to make a joke to him, and he was like, today is just not the day. I'm not in a good mood. I'm not in a joking mood. Something happened that was traumatizing to me, and I looked at him. I said, listen, it's okay not to be okay with no explanation needed. Period.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think I go back to a song, Drew Hill, Incomplete. You can have everything in the world. You can have the fancy house. You can have the big bank account. But if you're missing that one piece to your life, you're incomplete. And I'm sure when you're dealing with depression and you're at the top of the world, she had just, competed. I believe she finished 5th at the Rio Games and came back to her hometown and gave her this big parade. You feel like you're on top of the world. What could go wrong for me? But in the meantime, when I go home to my own 4 walls, I'm suffering. And I have to put on this mask that I'm okay, and I'm dying inside.
Well, you
It's
think she
awful.
put on the hog mask?
I mean, who knows?
But with all jokes aside, and what really is good about it, if it's something good about it, you can't see it on her face now.
Absolutely not.
And when I was reading up on it, that was the main part of her story.
Yeah.
And I didn't even read her part. This was something I Googled.
Yes.
And right now, I can't see it on her face. She looks happy.
Yeah.
So I hope she's past that dark part in her life,
And she said the difference between 2016 and now is she's in a different place mentally. She's a little bit more happier.
A little
she
older.
went through that, and that may just have been the walk of her life that unfortunately she had to go through to get to the moment she's at right now. We don't always understand the road that God puts us on, but when he selects you, you got to go through it. But the good thing is he'll always bring you out of the storm.
Yes.
So, I'm excited for her. I mean, when I seen her throw and, to know her story after I saw the throw and I did some research, and I'm like, wow, I can only imagine what she was going through.
She got a fan here now.
Oh, for sure.
I'm watching the Olympics because of her.
Yeah.
Okay.
The entire
and don't get me
Team
wrong, I want
USA.
to see the basketball team.
of
I
course.
want to do all that. But now I'm going to be watching, which I really never watched this part of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who wins the skiing part in the Winter Olympics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really don't watch. I'm going to watch this now because she came on to not only because of the show, but I followed up on her. I looked her up. I mean,
it's the moments that make it bigger than sports. You know, it's bigger than, the fact that she is a shot put thrower for Team USA. At the end of the day, she's a human being that has the same issues that you and I have.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of human being and having the same issues, hopefully we can get Raven back on the line here shortly to join us. We got her back?
Oh, we got it back.
Oh, there it is.
She done went in.
She had to transform on us. All right.
You made it. The limo dropped you off already.
As soon as I got out the car, as soon as I got out the car, my phone died.
It's all good. Glad to have you back. So let's talk about this new documentary that you have. You teamed up with PBS and wellbeing.org. This new documentary, the first episode of this first series has been released. It's an Olympic athlete takes on depression out of darkness. It's the first installment. Let's talk about that. And what was that all like putting that together?
Man, it was crazy. That was my second project like that since I was Gatorade Player of the Year in 2014.
Congratulations.
So it was really great. Their message, really spoke to kind of what I wanted to convey and get out to people and really just be able to help people. So them coming in and, filming, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I might be somebody. They come to film little old me. But since then, that journey with them and, being able to do a lot of interviews and people kind of getting a chance to really see, that whoever you look up to or whoever it is you aspire to be or certain people that are in certain positions, just because someone may reach a certain level of success or what, others may classify as success doesn't necessarily mean that everything is okay. And then also the takeaway from that I wanted it to be was that, no matter what it is that you're going through, you still have to keep pushing and keep fighting because there's a reason. Because when I look back on my journey and, if I was to had taken my life in 2018, back in January, everything that has happened since and, even up until this moment, and it's not even close to being over yet. So I'm just really thankful for well-beings, and thankful for my therapist, and thankful for this journey that I'm on right now.
Absolutely. I want to personally thank you as well for inspiring people. People think that, athletes, they have no worries of the world. They have no issues. They're in the spotlight, and, they don't have the power bill issues that we have. They don't have, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul issues that we have. But it's individuals like yourself that continue to inspire people who are also suffering mental illness as well is real. And a lot of people kind of downplayed, especially in the African American community and also in the LGBTQ community as well. So I want to thank you for being an inspiration, for telling your story as well, for helping to pull other people's out of darkness as well.
Yeah, thank you.
It takes courage, man. It's not easy, and one of the things that I always encourage people when I talk about the LGBTQ community, it's nothing worse than being able to not live your life in your own skin, and that's kind of what happens when you're depressed and you're dealing with mental illness. You put on a fake facade 24 hours a day. In the meantime, you're dying.
Exactly. And that was like the biggest thing for me. I was a young Black gay woman in Mississippi.
Yes.
It was one of those things where it's like, you kind of like toe the line of what people, want you to be, and toeing the line of who you want to be. And you have to navigate that and find yourself in the midst of everything, despite, whatever is going on around you. And it's crazy that, a lot of that pressure is being put on, 18, 19, 21, and 22-year-olds. But you got to learn how to navigate it. Some do it better than others.
So I want to ask you, and I hope I'm not getting too personal in it. Have you become more comfortable in the fact, since you went through what you went through, have you become more comfortable within yourself as far as, being a representation of a Black gay woman in the world of sports? Have you become more comfortable in your skin and more proud to represent the person that you are, being true to yourself?
1,000 million, 100,000 million, bazillion %.
That smile says it all.
Yeah,
it was one of those things. Like, I mean, I lived my life trying to fit in the boxes for other people, and with that happening, getting so close to ending my life, it was just a matter of like, you have to start living and being comfortable with yourself, regardless of what anyone has to say or anybody's input, because at the end of the day, nobody else besides me is in my shoes. So if I want to dress super masculine, then I'm going to dress super masculine. If I want to wear some tights that day, I'm going to wear some tights. If me being 220 pounds at 5'5" with a little bit of gut, if I'm going to take my shirt off, I'm going to take my shirt off to work out. It's one of those things. I had to learn how to be comfortable with just being me, and whoever accepts that, they accept it. Whoever doesn't,
Chuck the deuces. Yeah. Bye. So let's talk about Team USA. You guys are loaded. Of course, you are just one successful puzzle piece to the great team that makes up Team USA. Let's talk about it's kind of a rivalry, but not so much, between you and your teammate Jessica Ramsey, and you guys. At the trials, you had the one up on her for a little moment, but she came back and she did her thing as well. Talk about what that relationship is between you two, competing to make each other better at the end of the day.
Me and Jessica, we've been pushing each other for years. Even, over the past 2 years, us not, being training partners, we're still, best friends. So really, we weren't necessarily even competing against each other. We were pushing each other, but we were competing against, some other people in the field, because we just knew that a lot of people kind of, based on the past, me being injured and Jessica, just kind of like working on her consistency. There are a lot of people that, kind of had it out for us, that counted us out. And just the whole season, I remember since indoors, we were constantly, hey, after our first big meet back in Arkansas, we were like, hey, yo, we gotta keep pushing them like this. We gotta come out there swinging. And Jessica's a great competitor. She was my training partner for a while. Great spirit, great energy. If people love my personality, you would love Jessica's, because she's just as goofy and just as crazy as I am. She's just a little bit more shy with showing it to the world. But just that success, and I feel like it's a great kind of thing because so many times in spaces and things like that, Black women, you're competing against each other. And granted, we are, we're competitors at the end of the day, but also pushing each other to be, better than we are currently is one of the most beautiful things about it. Having somebody alongside you that understands, that knows the struggles that you're going through, and you both just wanting each other to succeed.
For sure. Take us back to that moment of the throw that you achieved, and
awesome throw.
For a second, when I told Kev you were on the show, he was like, "Is that girl that threw that ball way out the arena?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's."
So I had to look you up there, you know.
So take us back through that moment. Of course, like I said, I do have some experience in shot putting, and the technique of when I first started out, I didn't do the complete throw. I did the push out, and I eventually transferred into doing the complete technique, which isn't the best. But take us back through that moment of when you knew you had to bring your very best throw. What was going through your mind at that moment when you were trying to mentally prepare in such a short moment?
It was kind of everything. I had 2 throws. They were okay throws, but really, that's when I had to I literally pulled myself to the side. That's why I like the mask, because people can't see what I'm saying to myself. But I had a little come to Jesus moment with myself and told myself pretty much, you better get your stuff together because this ain't going to cut it in Tokyo. And I also talk about a story, my last track meet that I competed in before this one in Oregon. I remember it was NCAA's 2017, never forget, outdoors. I was the reigning outdoor champion. I was in the ring for my last throw. I remember asking for a clap, and it was maybe 5 people on the infield, 5 of my competitors, and maybe a few people in the stands that clapped.
Wow.
Literally the most devastating thing that could happen on your last throw when you're expecting to get some energy or whatever, and there is none.
Dead silence.
The fact that I needed it, but it was the fact of dang, do they really mess with, it was just a lot mentally. But going into this one on that 3rd round throw, I was just I already said before, I was I'm gonna ask for a clap this time. I'm gonna ask for it again just to try and redeem. So I remember going in, I was hyping myself up, ready to get in there and blast it. And then I remember asking for the clap, and I heard the whole stadium just start going.
Nice.
And I'm oh, be the one. I was this is it.
Gotta bring it.
As I'm hearing it, and I put the shot put in my hand, oh man, it was over. I knew that was gonna be a big throw from the moment I put it in my neck. It felt like it. The technique, it was on. My prelims, they were good, and man, I remember smacking it and hitting it, and you see me yeah,
I saw you hit your chest afterwards, and I'm like, the Hulk is out. The Hulk is out.
I knew it was big, and then when it landed, I started going crazy because I'm oh my God, I think I was that's close to 20 meters.
Yeah.
I'm I think I just threw a PR just now. And then when I seen it, I was 1996 birth year,
All comes together.
I was okay, we hype, we in this, man. Yeah, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling.
Yeah. So in the Rio Games, you finished 5th. What are you doing different to prepare physically to try to, place, we're going to say goal, but at least in the top 3 or at least higher than 5th, which wasn't bad. But what are you doing different training wise to try to make sure you get over that hump?
Making sure I don't drop shot puts.
Yeah, they drop them on your toe a couple times. They hurt.
2016, I remember it was the 2nd round. The shot put literally popped out of my neck as I was setting up, and it counted as a foul. So that mentally,
worst feeling.
That mentally messed me up into the last round where I was able to, do pretty solid. But really, it's just a matter of focus. Just staying zeroed in, making sure that my technique is as sharp as it needs to be. So whatever happens, I can still pop something out. Just fine tuning. And staying focused on a goal at hand. It's really, I find that as long as I stay the course and do exactly what I have been doing and doing what I've been set up to do, then there's no way to not walk away with a medal.
Yes.
I just happening.
So I know you bench press over 400 pounds. Let's talk about that. Seeing that in the video, you're working out. Of course, you were named National Gatorade Track and Field Athlete of the Year back in high school. So the documentary that has been put together by Gatorade for you as well. I mean, I saw you doing some bench pressing and some squats in that video, and I'm like, OMG.
Yeah, lifting is my favorite. It's next to throwing, lifting is it's my happy place. I probably spend way more time in the gym than I do out in the field. Just because I'll go in sometimes late night, just if my mind is racing, or if I can't sleep, or if I want to make sure I get a good night's sleep, or just constantly thinking there's somebody out working me. I'll just go to the gym and do something, do a little bit extra. The gym is like my happy place. It's like another place where the Hulk kind of gets to release. Learning how to differentiate the two. I've learned how to compartmentalize, you know, certain frustrations, be it driving or certain things where people upset me. I compartmentalize it, and then when I get to the gym or when I get to, you know, training, I just get to fully release everything all at one time. So it's I love the gym.
Just throw those numbers out at us one more time for our listeners who haven't seen the video yet. What do you bench press and what do you squat?
My bench press max was 480. It was around the time when I was like 275, 270, 275. Yeah. Weight wise, now I'm still over 400 and I'm weighing 220. My squat, I could do like a safety squat bar. It's one of those bars with the handles. I remember doing that for like a triple at like 700. I could do like 4 or 5. I think it was like 8 reps on a regular back squat. You know,
well, having the title of the Hulk, you do have to do, you know, that is probably some of the requirements.
It's like the basis. If you're not, then you don't even get the right.
Oh, I'm sure. One of the things I used to hate going to practice on days that we had to lift and there was no throwing is you don't pick up the shot put on Thursdays. It's all legs because that's what throwing is. That's what shot put and discus is. It's all legs. It's from the bottom up. And man, I used to hate having to lift.
Yeah, a lot of people, that's the misconception. Everybody think, you know, throwing, so they think armed.
It's all technique.
Yeah, the ball is heavy.
Yes.
And it have the biggest muscles, you know, your glutes and your thighs and your quads and your calves and all of that into it. It ain't going to work.
Okay, so here's the thing. As a little boy, I wanted to be Jose Cardinal. He was my inspiration. He was a baseball player. Long time ago. I ain't going to tell you how long ago. Who was your inspiration? What made you say, I want to do this sport and I'm going to the Olympics and doing it?
It was Michelle Carter. Hands down, Michelle Carter. Because I remember my freshman year and I remember like being pretty decent, like starting out my season around 33. Then it was like 35 and I was around like 36. And I remember my old man, him like showing me her like video and I remember going to the library and just watching her. You know, bigger, black woman, strong, powerful, beautiful, and great. And she was, you know, killing it. She was battling, you know, at the time back and forth with, it was her and Jill Cameron Williams. And she'd take the record, Jill take, you know, they go back and forth, and just watching that and seeing her in it in that moment into a sport that I was just coming in. I'm like, yo, okay, if she can do it, you know, I can, because it was one of those things where it was just like seeing, I talk about representation being such a big thing because it's easier when you're younger seeing somebody do something. You're like, I can do it too. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder trying to be the first because it's a lot more things that you start to doubt. And that's why I was so thankful that, you know, even though I got 5th place in Rio, literally being out there and able to witness, you know, first ever shot put Olympic gold medal that's coming back to America being done by a black woman, and being able to witness that and hug her and see, you know, how much that meant to her. And I don't even know, like, I talk about it so much, I don't even know if she understands like how much, you know, her journey really inspires me or pushes me, or watching those things that she's done has really like propelled me to be like, okay, like I gotta keep this match going, because we can't end it off a Shot Diva. Shot Diva has definitely ignited a lot of torches, and I'm so thankful.
The GOAT, for sure. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I know you also throw discus as well. That was a part of my track and field experience that I hated, because the discus throw is a little bit more techniques, and I could just never get it down packed. I couldn't get my hips, and I hated competing in the discus. Do you kind of feel the same way, or you're more competitive with the shot put?
I'm shot's my thing. I took a hiatus out from the discus after college, and then once my hip went out the first time, it was just like, dang. I don't know. Maybe I might give my hand, you know, another try at it. But the disc was fun though. I was very competitive in it, pretty solid in it. But like you said, it is a lot more technical.
Yes,
so
it is.
Try to hit discus initially, like how I was hitting the shot put, and that thing says,
it's kind of like throwing a frisbee. You got to let it fly. But if you don't get those hips around, you don't get those techniques. Yeah. Kind of like when you shoot a basketball, you don't get those elbows in. I mean,
Right. So much more finesse. There's definitely a lot of power that goes into it. but the discus is the one event to where your technique has to be on. The shot put, you can get in there, and if you just real nasty and you get in there and you just go after it, you can make the ugliest throw. Like before this 1996, the ugliest throw that I've ever taken was my PR.
Wow.
That's what shot put. That will not happen in a discus.
No, it will not. No, it will not. No. So one of the questions we have from one of our viewers, shouts out to Jose and Straight Sports Bets. Is it true that Olympians don't get paid unless they actually win a medal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very true. Only top 3 get paid when you go out to the Olympics. Which gets pretty crazy. I mean, that's what makes it so cutthroat partially. And that's one of the things too, that it's like, dang, we go from a world championships where at least they're paying, top 8 for every event, to go into an Olympic Games where it's like, hey, if you don't come back with a medal, you going back home, but
empty-handed.
you got all this gear, but ain't no money in your pocket. And a lot of people just go and they work off of or try to, gain as many sponsorship or endorsement deals, whatever it is that you can, to try and use the Olympian status to get some sort of benefits from it. And that's another very, very tough thing for a lot of people. I was fortunate enough to still be in college. So coming off of that, that next year I still had, financial support.
Nice. So one of the hot topics we got to talk about it before we let you out of here, this whole drug thing with the Olympics, of course.
We was going to talk about it, right, Baller?
We, of course.
All right, we might as well talk about it with the Hawk.
We might as well get into it with the Hawk. Someone who's in it, she has her foot in it, and she has her taking it personally. This whole Sha'Carri Richards incident where, she tested positive for marijuana. What's your take on the rule when it comes to that? I mean, kudos to her. She's taking full accountability for her mistakes, and, she said she knew fairly what she was doing, but she was going through a moment where that was her coping measure. And for someone like yourself who also had somewhat of a similar situation where you were going through something, within yourself, you just need some type of relief. What's your take on the rules? And do you think there should be some change? Do you think there should have been maybe some exception made for her at all?
I would say the exception side, no. And I only say this because it leaves too much of an open door.
For sure.
Thank you.
A lot of other people and a lot of other athletes, because there's been athletes who've, had bans or whatever the case may be. It just like the credibility or, how people look at the organization, if they would be like, okay, you broke the rules, but we're still going to reward you. Nothing, absolutely nothing against Sha'Carri. Because it's like when you're going through so much, she lost her mom. Like,
yeah, that's tough.
People that are constantly, she knows but when you're going through certain things, your mind doesn't process stuff the same way, or you're not weighing the cost and effects. It's your mom. A lot of us have said we don't know what we would do if we lost our parents, especially the week before the biggest competition of our lives.
For sure.
Especially the number one person coming in, and you've been, how Sha'Carri is. She's a very outward person. She talk her stuff. And I mean, honestly, I'm here for it.
For sure. Absolutely.
I'm here for the rivalries because it increases, the attention on the sport. And I'm wishing her all the best with that. And when it comes to the rules, I definitely do think that, the rules should be changed, whether that be them taking it off completely or even like raising the levels a little bit higher to where it's like, okay, what's the average it takes for a person to get it out? About if someone was doing this up until this point, what's a reasonable number to say, okay, hey, well, the cutoff is 3, 4, or 5 days beforehand. So let's put it at this number.
Right.
Whatever can be done to pretty much adjust that, because I mean, it's a free world. It's getting legalized, in so many states all across the country. Some athletes live in a lot of places where it is legal. And it's just one of those things I feel like, it definitely needs to be reevaluated or adjusted some way, somehow.
Yeah,
sure.
But there's a lot of countries that it's not legal in. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of countries that is legal, but it's a lot of countries that it's not legal.
And that's I feel like the argument with it with people. And if we're being honest, like they outlawed that pretty much because I do my history and I do my research. So it's really starting back in like the 1940s where it was like starting to be like, nah, like we're going to start outlawing this. And then pretty much like once during like the hippie era where like, people were becoming free and doing whatever, they were like, no, that's done. And then everybody was like, all right, they done too. And I feel like us being America, we're the leaders of the free world. And I feel like us constantly doing the right thing by legalizing it, setting people free that have been in jail because of it. All of those things are forward, movement towards hopefully a lot more countries being like, okay, we can relax it. Because honestly, if we could substitute, marijuana for alcohol,
right?
Like there would be large contrast with a lot of things in the world that goes on today. Drunk driving or people want, or other drugs that may get out of your system a lot faster, such as like cocaine and some other stuff. It's just like there's too many other things that are
way bigger,
10 times worse that makes the argument for like banning weed. Like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
So Ms. Raven, they gave her 30 days,
right?
So she still had the opportunity to be in the relay race.
The 4x100. Yeah.
Why did they oust her from that so early and not give her a chance to do that?
So what happened was because they disqualified because of her failed drug test.
She was disqualified.
Yeah, her Olympic trials performance being disqualified. USATF, you have to compete at trials in order to be on the Olympic team. So we don't do, a lot of other countries may do a selection process. And granted, we have, to a degree, we have a selection, but you have to be in that. So by them disqualifying her performances, even though other people were like, yeah, because she's 30 days out at the finals, the 4x1, that was the story. But, and really, granted, if they wanted to, they could have. But like I said, if you do certain things, it leaves like there's going to be a flow of other people and other things. And why can't I do this? Why didn't y'all pick me this time around? And it just leaves too much of a huge gray area.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the whole discrimination thing within the Olympics. Of course, the Olympics, they came out early and said, there will be no protesting at all, the whole Black Lives Matter things. And recently, last week, they said they banned the swimmers from wearing the hats to protect them.
That was made by the black lady. Yeah.
Yes, because I'm not sure that you think it gives them some advantage. But yes, as African-American women, we do have big hair. Like, okay. But as far as the discrimination that goes into, the he say she say of the discrimination of the Olympics. Of course, the gymnast today came out and said she's disappointed that so many African Americans are not actually supporting and not actually watching the Olympics, and she would rather see us tuned in to support that. Is that something that you've kind of experienced being involved in the Olympics?
Yes, and I really do feel like people should tune in, because honestly, I feel like we're back at like the John Carlos, Tommy Smith type, incident where everything with the civil rights movement was going on back at home, and these guys had the option, to like go out and go compete. And, even back when Jesse Owens was going, when they wanted to boycott, it's one of those things. And it's like, we all have sacrificed so much of ourselves. And when you look at the Olympic community, it can kind of, or like training for the Olympics, especially as a black athlete sometimes, especially with these rules, it's kind of like, a metaphor for kind of what goes on at home. You have this system that tries to tell you like, no, this isn't accepted. You can't do this. You can't be this. You can't do that. And then it's up to you to still go and be like, okay, all right, whatever. And I'm still going to make it happen and succeed, even though you said I couldn't do this, that, and the third. And that's one of the biggest things. I feel like a lot of us black athletes that are competing at the Olympics, we have so much pressure on us, not even just from competing. It's really representing our people, because when you get to a certain level, it's no longer about you. It's about you and your community, because you're a face when it comes to doing certain things in life. And that's just how it goes. And for us, we just want the support for those of us that may want to show these other young girls or young boys or young people that, hey, like, you can do this, you can be here. Like, despite all of the obstacles and things that they're trying to throw at you to trip you up, you can still get past it and overcome.
Facts.
And I'm bodies, they're going to say what they want and they're going to, whatever, but it comes down to the athletes and what they do. So
yeah, talk about this as far as the community. Your community supports you. I mean, you went back home and they gave you a Raven Saunders Day. Talk about how special that is to you. And you talk about representation. I'm sure you put that city and that moment on your back every time you get into that ring.
Oh yes, because it's just one of those things. I feel like a lot of us kind of come from backgrounds where it's like, you know, you may be one of few to like kind of make it out and succeed, or, you know, people feel like you're untouchable or you're not tangible. People leave and then they don't come back and do certain things, but which was one of the reasons why like I shouted my city out when I succeeded, because no matter where it was or how well or how bad I was doing, you know, since they have started supporting me, they've always supported me. When I was hurt, it was still like, okay, we want you to do good. Like when you come back, you know, certain reporters would still be doing stories on me, my recovery and things like that. And I feel like, you know, my thing is I really want to inspire so many other kids, because there were so many of us that got lost in this, that, you know, got stuck or, you know, stopped pushing or stopped grinding for certain things that they could have had in life. And it's just like, there's so much talent in my city. There's so much talent, but the opportunity and the mindset and the representation, you know, we need more of that, more people that, you know, people can be like, oh, I know for a fact they from so-and-so, like they come back or they give back or they do this, that, and the third. So yeah, when I won that, well, not one, but when I had that big throw, I was like, had to let everybody from my city know, like, we're here.
As
like,
you should.
Like,
as you should. Well, here in Las Vegas, I know we on separate coasts, but I mean, here in No Plays Off Sports Talk here in Las Vegas, you have our support 100%. We're going to be rooting for you. Like I said, you and I, we have a special bond, that shot put connection, man, throwers for life. So we're going to be rooting you on, and we're going to put it in the universe. We're going to see you on that number one spot, and we're going to get that gold medal this time.
Yes, man.
And you do have, I know you gained one fan, which is me. So I'm sure there's a lot more, but I'm just telling you, you got one that's going to be clapping for you. You ain't going to hear it because I'm going to be looking through the TV screen, but I'm going to be clapping for you.
Hey, I feel like I'm going to feel that energy from everybody
for
just
sure.
coming that ring. I'm going to feel it all the way in Tokyo. I'm going to feel it. Thank you, guys.
You got it.
Absolutely. So when do you take off for Tokyo, and when is the actual, when is your trials, and when give us the dates, and so we can, you know, make sure we mark our calendars. We got to tune in.
Yeah. So I compete July 30th is prelims and August 1st is the finals.
Okay.
The times you can Google them, but they may change. They're subject to change leading up to that point. As people have seen, Tokyo has gone into a state of emergency, so we're going to be very late. So they may change certain things like time wise around to just to accommodate. But July 30th and August 1st.
So let me ask you: are you going to be on social media while you're there?
Yeah, I always typically try to at least.
Okay, so that means you got to throw out a whole bunch of social media addresses so I could follow you, so I'll know, because their time is a lot different than our time.
Yeah, so it's actually if you're in Central Time, I believe it is a 13 to 14 hour time difference.
Nice.
Yeah, so if it's a night meet, it's actually going to be like early in the morning. If it's early in the morning, it's going to be like, you know, super late, crazy late at night.
Right.
We're going to DVR it. We going to be tuned in.
I'm waking up. I'm leaving TVO.
I'll let everybody know the time wise for each you know,
you
time
got
zone out here when it'll be once I find out.
We got you for sure. Just real quick, also give the information how we can tune in to your mini docu series that's currently airing. Give that address how we can tune in for that. Is there going to be a second installment, or how is that working?
So it's like they're doing them on different people that have been a part of the Well-Beings series this whole entire time. So they did like the articles, and we've done like a town hall so far, which was like another piece, and now they're into doing the different docuseries. I actually have a new one out, it's me and Trayvon Bromell with Gatorade. You can find that on YouTube or in my the link is in my profile on Instagram. It's in Trayvon's profile on Instagram, and it's on, the whole story is actually on my page also. So you can Google it, YouTube it, especially, it's for sure on YouTube.
Nice.
It's called Unstoppable series with Raven, featuring Raven and Trayvon.
The Unstoppable series, of course, and you both were Gatorade athlete Gatorades of the year, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, man. Me and Trayvon, my first team with him was 2014 World Juniors.
Nice.
So it's been nice, kind of watching him and seeing his journey and his, you know, comeback. And watching him, I always knew, you know, he was gonna come back, and he was gonna come back hitting. So when I got hurt and I got injured and I seen, you know, how hard he was working to come back, I knew that it was possible for me too.
Yeah. Again, we appreciate you for joining us on the show, and we're going to be supporting you all the way here in Las Vegas. We're going to be rooting you on, and we're going to be waiting for that gold post, that pose with you and that gold medal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the gold teeth too.
That's right. We'll take that with the gold glasses as well. We'll take it all.
And Raven, get your money too, because when you bring the gold back, they're gonna be trying to get you on Gatorade everything. And get your money, babe. Get the bags, as they say.
Right.
Appreciate you, Raven. Good luck to you. Stay safe, and we'll be following your journey. All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, man. She is phenomenal. Dope, man. Dope. I love it. Great stuff. Before we get out of here, the big topic between ESPN, Rachel Nichols, Malika Anderson, and Maria Taylor. What's your take on it, Kev? I mean, I have so many mixed emotions.
Yeah, I can't even express because it's so. I don't get it. I just don't get why one woman would say something about another woman, and now she got to come back, and I just don't get it.
The part about it that I don't like is we already are in a male-dominating field.
That's what I mean. So why would you want to hate on another woman?
And I kind of get both ends. She kind of feel like her job is threatened. She kind of feel like she's paid her dues. She feels that she's the best at that role, and she should stay in it, which who wouldn't feel that way? But something on my job is they make you sign something that says a disclosure. You can't talk bad about your employees, such as a thing of that nature. And although I get how she may have been feeling frustrated in it, I mean, a lot of people are trying to make it, it's because she's a black woman. Not once did we know that really what it, when you speak about diversity, it could have been a big realm of anything. Yeah. People kind of took that and ran with it. I just hate the fact that these are women who are in a male-dominating field going at each other. And people want to blame ESPN, yada, yada, yada. Kudos going out to Malika Anderson. I mean, she has paid her dues. She's phenomenal at what she does. Maria Taylor, the same thing. Their resumes speak for themselves. I mean, she has to hold some accountability. The apology I'm not here for. I believe that I don't believe it was sincere. I believe it was damage control. I could be wrong. That's just my own personal opinion. But I just hate to see that the women in the male dominating sports are kind of clashing against each other. We should be building each other up. Yes. And we hear about it all the time. It's next man up. It's next woman up. So when I get my opportunity, I get my seat at the table. It's my job. It's my obligation to reach down and bring the next generation of reporters up. I mean, Malika Anderson, she just rewarded this year along with Christina Williams, ESPN 30 under 30 in
30
sports.
For 30,
30 for 30. Mm-hmm. 30 under 30 is what the series calls. I mean, it's phenomenal. So these women resumes, they do speak for themselves. I got a lot to say about it. We don't have the time. We have to let our guests speak. But I mean,
I don't get it.
I'm here for.
I don't get it. It might be a woman thing.
I'm good for the black girl magic on the sidelines. I'm good for that.
The men been doing it too. And this is a cutthroat industry. You got to admit it, right?
You got to be prepared.
So the men been doing it. They just didn't get out. It don't get out like the women got it out.
Yeah. And another issue I have with ESPN and this whole thing, she didn't, I mean, she's been pulled now, but this isn't something that just happened. Why was she not disciplined before when Jamil Hill, when she had the whole issues that they immediately, and if it would have been the other way around, would we have had the same outcome to kind of sweep it under the rug? And would it have developed the way it did? We don't know.
But Jamil, that's my question.
She was like, I'm out of here.
With y'all.
And she's doing a phenomenal job with her own Unbothered series.
I think she done grew up.
Yeah.
I mean, she done blew up, I should say.
She's doing her thing. Yeah. LeBron James, real quick, last story of the day.
What'd he do?
He had a tantrum over the weekend. His son, Bronny James, was playing for Strive for Greatness AAU basketball team in his hometown. They were playing at his gym, and LeBron James, I guess Bronny Jr. had a foul called for him, and the announcer made a call and saying, "You only got that call because you're LeBron James' son and you're playing in his arena." And LeBron James went over, had a confrontation with the PA announcer and saying, "Listen, you don't disrespect my son. You don't speak like that on my son." Being a dad, as he should be, but there's a time and place for all of that.
Ball, he's doing too much. Okay, he's starting to remind me of the ball daddy.
Ooh.
Okay,
that's far, huh?
That is ridiculous, and he needs to step back. And plus, you can coach from the stands, but you can't even the coach shouldn't hear you saying anything to him.
And
it's the coach's job to coach his son, and announcers say what they want. You got to teach him that you got to ignore what they talking about. That's what you got to teach him at home.
And he was
not on the floor
doing the most. He's
doing too much.
He was on the field, on the court, showing little Bronny some moves on the court.
That's too much.
There's a time and place for that.
Yes.
You can't do that with little Kev. You don't get that moment.
No.
I mean, I love LeBron James. I love watching little Bronny play.
It is his
watching,
gym too.
Yeah, So I think that was just a little bit over the top.
He's doing too much. Sit back and watch your son play and enjoy it. And then when you get home, you got something to tell him. Look, dude, you got to do this. You got to overlook this. You can't worry about that. right now LeBron is doing too much. He's starting to look like LeVar Ball.
I mean, they stopped the game. It was like a 2-minute pause within the game. It became a big old scene. I mean, that just
It's too much.
It was too much.
Yeah,
that was too much.
Stop,
so,
LeBron. Stop.
Yeah. Make sure we support our Las Vegas Aces. They are in action tonight. Taking on Brittany Griner and Skylar Diggins and the GOAT, Diana Taurasi. They're in action 7 p.m. over at the Michelob Arena. WNBA All-Star is going to be rolling in town next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Kev, what do you want to do about the show next Wednesday?
That's on you. That's on you, Ball. You going there,
We
right?
will be at the All-Star game next week.
You want to record live from there?
I think it's at 4 o'clock.
Quan, can we go down to the stadium? Can we record from the stadium, Quan?
So let's just say, just because we don't be pushed for time, let's have no show next week, and we'll pick up the following week so that we can get all the coverage for the WNBA All-Star game.
You got it. No show next week, Baller. No show.
Are you inside the locker room tomorrow,
Yes,
sir?
inside the locker room on Rise Radio, the global station, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right. Remember, you all, we love you for absolutely free. Share the live feed. If you want to be a sponsor of No Plays All Sports Talk, make sure you send us an email, noplaysallsportstalk@gmail.com. Peace.
It's been a pleasure. Deuces.